Derek Bieri always looked like a man who had everything under control. His YouTube channel, Vicegrip Garage, made him a millionaire. More than 3 million subscribers watched him bring dead cars back to life with nothing but simple tools, cheap parts, and stubborn determination. His family seemed picture perfect. His Tennessee farm looked peaceful. His business was thriving. But in 2023, something happened that changed him in a way no one expected. It wasn't about cars, fame, or money. It was a moment in his garage that nearly killed him, and the worst part was that his 12-year-old son saw the whole thing. That moment didn't just hurt his body. It broke him in a way he had never experienced before. The man who could fix anything suddenly found something he couldn't fix, no matter how hard he tried. To understand how everything fell apart, you have to understand where Derek came from. He was born on May 16, 1984, in the small, cold town of Minot, North Dakota. Winters there didn't feel like seasons. They felt like battles. Snow piled up so high it covered fences, barns, and even tractors. The wind was sharp enough to sting your face. His family lived in a small white farmhouse surrounded by flat fields stretching to the horizon. There were no malls, no big stores, and no luxuries. His father, a tough farmer who worked through blizzards and freezing nights, kept old equipment alive because there was no other choice. If something broke in their world, you fixed it. You never threw anything away. You made things work, even when you didn't have much. Derek grew up in that world, where money was tight and survival meant using your hands. By age 3, he was already taking things apart instead of playing with toys. He followed his father around the barn, staring at the tools, the tractor parts, the engines spread out on the workbench. The smell of oil became as familiar to him as the smell of dinner. His father never pushed him away or told him to stop touching things. Instead, he encouraged him. One day in 1987, Derek quietly took apart his toy truck and lined up the screws on the floor just like he'd seen his father do. That was the moment everyone realized he wasn't like other kids. Soon Derek was repairing the family lawn mower. He learned by listening to the engine's sounds and feeling the vibration of the parts. He didn't learn from books or manuals. He learned from instinct, from watching, from trying. Everything in his childhood taught him the same lesson: fix it yourself and fix it cheap. When he was 5, family dinners often turned into lessons on reusing old parts. His father might hand him a bent bolt and say, "Find out where this can work again." It wasn't a game. It was a way of life. One summer in 1989, when Derek was only 5, his father gave him a broken wagon and told him to fix it using parts from 3 pieces of junk lying behind the barn. That challenge would frustrate most adults, but Derek treated it like a mission. It took him months, but he eventually rebuilt the wagon. At 7, he had already repaired several farm tools using nothing but leftover scraps and bolts from the junk pile. Derek didn't learn this stuff because he wanted a fun hobby. He learned it because this was how people survived in his town. Even in kindergarten, teachers noticed he was different. Most kids played with toys or colored pictures. Derek fixed his own bike chain without telling anyone. His grandfather, a World War II veteran, used to tell stories about repairing vehicles during battle. Derek listened closely, then went outside and tried those tricks on broken equipment he found in the yard. When he discovered a rusted 1972 farm truck with a frozen engine, he spent 14 nights in the freezing cold trying to get it to run again. Eventually, it did. In 1991, instead of wanting a store-bought toy, Derek built one. He created a go-kart using a baby stroller frame, a lawn mower engine, and pieces of metal he welded together. The whole project cost less than $10, and somehow, the thing worked. He raced it through the fields, proud of what his own hands had made. That go-kart led to more. By the time he was 13, he had built several more, each one stronger and smarter than the last. Around that age, he found something in the shed that changed him: his grandfather's old Ford truck. It was rusty, forgotten, and falling apart. But Derek saw potential. He stripped rust by hand, rebuilt parts, and replaced wires. When he changed the truck's oil by himself, he felt something shift inside him. Fixing cars wasn't just something he could do. It was something he was meant to do. In 2001, Derek joined his high school auto shop class. Most kids took it because it was easy. Derek took it seriously. He rebuilt a 1972 Chevy Nova carburetor by hand. He made careful diagrams, cleaned every piece, and treated every bolt like it mattered. That Nova won him awards at fairs and competitions, but the real prize was knowing he had figured it out with his own skill. At 16, he bought a beat-up 1985 Honda Civic for $200 because he didn't have enough money for a better learning project. Over the next few months, he replaced the transmission, hoisted the engine out by himself, and rebuilt the car with junkyard parts. An $800 job done for a fraction of the cost. But then came the accident. At 17, while welding a damaged fender, he made a mistake and fused his index finger to the metal. The injury sent him to the hospital in agony. It could have scared him away from mechanics forever, but instead, it pushed him to learn proper safety and become even more careful. After high school, he joined an automotive program at a local college in 2002. While other students left early, Derek stayed late, cleaning and cataloging engine parts until midnight. He wasn't fast, but he was exact. Professors noticed. Then he made a choice that surprised everyone. He enlisted in the U.S. Army at 18. He was sent to Fort Gordon, Georgia, where he became an information technology specialist. His job was fixing satellite systems and making sure communication equipment ran during simulated combat. Long hours, high pressure, and zero tolerance for mistakes formed him into someone who stayed calm when everything went wrong. In 2004, at age 20, Derek was deployed to Iraq. During a patrol near Baghdad, the Humvee he was riding in broke down in a dangerous area. With no time and no tools, Derek slid under the truck, traced the problem, and bypassed a fried relay using scraps. He got the Humvee running and saved the convoy. That day changed him. It taught him resourcefulness, courage, and quick thinking under threat. He didn't stop there. He built a simple software tool that helped soldiers diagnose electrical issues in their vehicles. It saved time and helped his fellow troops. His reputation grew. He wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He was the guy who could fix problems nobody else could. In 2005, enemy saboteurs stole a critical control laptop from a military truck. Without it, the vehicle wouldn't work. Derek searched trash piles, stripped wires from a dead generator, and built a replacement wiring harness. He finished it in 2 nights. The truck worked. The Army issued him a quiet commendation. After leaving the military in 2007, Derek returned home and used everything he learned to rebuild a 1969 Camaro in his parents' driveway. He worked through North Dakota's brutal cold, cleaning each part with care. By 2008, he had a full-time job in a dealership, tearing through hundreds of transmissions, earning respect, and quickly rising through the ranks. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't loud. He was steady, skilled, and honest. By age 26, he was managing a team of 15. He created new systems, saved the company money, and built trust wherever he went. In 2012, he became vice president at a parts company, helping reshape the business with fairness and ethics. Then in 2014, the CFO stole $150,000 from the company. Derek found the missing money, fired the CFO, reported everything, and rebuilt the company's reputation. But all the pressure, the stress, the long hours, it came with a cost. He hid how much it was hurting him until Jessica, the woman he had been with since they were 17, finally confronted him in 2016. They had been together since they met at the county fair in 2001, married in 2008, and had 4 children over the years. They shared everything: victories, fears, late-night worries, and dreams. Jessica told him she saw something different in his eyes, something broken. Burnout. Exhaustion. Fear of losing himself. Fear of missing his kids grow up. That was the moment they decided he needed out. ViceGrip Garage became more than a hobby. It became the way forward. In 2018, they moved to Tennessee for a fresh start, better weather, and land where the kids could run. Derek filmed simple videos in his garage, using duct tape, old iPhones, cheap tools, and real effort. People loved the honesty, the mistakes, the messy reality. His channel grew from nothing to millions. But in 2023, one terrible moment in his garage nearly destroyed everything. His son witnessed it. Derek was injured badly, and for the first time in his life, he couldn't fix the problem. Not with tools. Not with skill. Not with determination. That moment shook him to his core. The man who rebuilt engines, saved convoys, revived rusted cars, and repaired so many broken things suddenly found himself broken in a way that tools couldn't heal. It was the beginning of a struggle he never expected, the battle to rebuild himself. It was the moment when Derek Bieri planted his flag in the ground and showed the world exactly who he was. His timing could not have been better. Millions of people were stuck at home, tired of fake content, and craving something real. When his video went online, it hit people in a way even he didn't expect. By the end of that year, ViceGrip Garage crossed 500,000 subscribers. People were not just watching a man fix old junk cars. They were watching someone who refused to quit, someone who believed that even the most broken things could come back to life if you gave them enough time and effort. 1 year later, in 2021, Derek found a 1965 Mustang sitting in a junkyard in Minnesota. The car looked like it belonged in a horror movie. All 4 wheels were locked, the roof was smashed in, and there were animal remains inside. Any normal person would have walked away, but Derek wasn't wired like that. He built his own trailer, dragged the car 500 miles back to Tennessee, and somehow made it run again. It wasn't restored to showroom condition, but it was loud, fast, and alive. That video reached 2 million views and became one of the reasons so many people trusted him. He wasn't pretending. He was living every minute of it. That same year, he tried something even crazier. He took a 1970 Chevy P10 ice cream truck and attempted to drive it across 700 miles during the Midwest drags. The truck was barely able to hit 75 before the speedometer broke. The brakes were unreliable, and the whole thing felt like it might fall apart at any moment. But Derek didn't back down. He even served fans hot dogs from the back of the truck between repairs. The trip was rough, uncomfortable, loud, and yet strangely beautiful. It became one of his most memorable adventures, watched by more than 1.5 million people. But life wasn't always filled with victories. In 2022, someone broke into his Tennessee garage and stole a newly rebuilt $1,200 Holley carburetor. It wasn't just a part, it was a major piece for a project he was filming. Security cameras caught the thief, and although Derek stayed calm on camera, he took it personally. His viewers felt the same way. The video of the theft went viral, and people sent in tips trying to help. Derek responded by installing stronger locks, more cameras, and motion alerts. What could have been a setback actually strengthened the bond between him and his audience. They weren't just fans, they were a community. Then came 2023, the year when Derek did something many people thought was impossible. During Sick Week, he took his Chevelle, a car he called Independence, down the track and ran a 9.73-second quarter mile at 140 miles per hour. That time was wild for any car, but Derek still had a nearly stock 10-bolt rear end. He even wrote "Pray for Me" on the differential cover before launching. Somehow, the car stayed together. Jessica, his co-driver, stayed by his side, handling everything from driving to snack duty. Inside, the Chevelle was mostly original except for a roll bar and racing belts from the late 80s. The engine was a huge pro-charged big block that made the whole car shake. That one pass sent his subscriber count shooting up to 1.8 million. Later that year, Derek made his television debut when Motor Trend launched Roadworthy Rescues. The very first episode showed him bringing a 1970 Chevelle back to life after it had been sitting dead for 26 years. He finished the restoration in only 1 week, then drove the car 600 miles through Tennessee weather. The show felt like YouTube, but with cleaner editing. It even got a Daytime Emmy nomination for editing. Even with professional cameras around him, the heart of the show stayed the same. One guy, a limited budget, and a whole lot of determination. By 2024, Derek Bieri was no longer just a guy filming in his garage. He was running an empire built on rust, revival, and raw honesty. ViceGrip Garage passed 2.2 million subscribers and more than 756 million views. He didn't use scripts, flashy effects, or a big team. He filmed everything himself, often working late into the night. Most of his videos ran over an hour long and were lit only by garage lights and caffeine. His unique approach confused industry veterans because he didn't follow the usual business model. He fixed cars and sold them for almost no profit, sometimes only $50 or $100 more than he spent. He put all the money back into the next project. That strategy didn't make him rich fast, but it made people trust him deeply. Over time, that trust turned into a net worth of about $5 million. His success didn't just come from YouTube ads. He had sponsors like Bare Metal Zombie, TV appearances, and limited edition merchandise that sold out in under 48 hours. In 2024, he launched a merchandise line under the name Vice Grip Lodge. It was more than a store, it was a tribute to Sick Week. He released 10,000 Pray For Me differential covers with custom art inspired by his racing moments. Every single one sold out in 2 days. Fans didn't just buy them, they proudly showed them off online, painting them, mounting them on walls, or displaying them like trophies. The money helped fund new builds and even small charitable projects. Derek had created something rare. It wasn't just merchandise. It was a symbol of belonging. That same year during Sick Week 2024, Derek didn't win the race, but he ended up winning something more meaningful. He tried to compete in his 1971 Chevelle named Liberty, a monster with a 540 cubic inch big block and a turbo 400 transmission. But during a turbo swap, the engine failed. Instead of hiding the disaster, Derek livestreamed the whole thing. More than 50,000 people watched as he calmly explained every problem from the parts list to the exact failure points. It wasn't just a breakdown, it was a lesson. His transparency earned him the event's top spectator vote. Even among 300 racers, including big names like Cletus McFarland, Derek stood out for his honesty and attitude. Then came a sudden silence. In early 2025, fans panicked when Derek stopped uploading. People filled forums with rumors, burnout, health issues, or some kind of scandal. But the truth was quieter and much more serious. Derek was deep in the garage working on a massive restoration of a 1968 Plymouth Fury. The project demanded everything from him. He had no crew, only his kids helping him and Jessica organizing tools. When he finally uploaded a vlog, it showed a soft, personal side of him. His boys helped turn wrenches, and Jessica sorted bolts beside him. That one simple video calmed the entire audience and reminded them why they loved him. What they didn't know was the real reason he slowed down. That Fury had almost killed him. One cold day in late 2023, he was underneath the car trying to loosen a rusted exhaust bolt. The floor was slippery with oil. The jack stand shifted, and the entire 4,000-pound car dropped on him. The edge hit his arm and missed his skull by inches. His son Bentley, only 12, saw the whole thing. Jessica ran outside screaming. Somehow, Derek managed to pull his arm free. He wasn't seriously injured, but the experience changed him. That night, the family sat together and made a new rule: safety comes before everything. After that, his upload schedule changed from weekly videos to twice a month. He never filmed that near-death moment. But it quietly changed his life. When people noticed fewer videos, they assumed he was burned out. In reality, he was simply more careful. In 2024, he restored a barn-find Chevy and focused the entire project on safety. Every jack stand was double-checked. Every wheel was secured. He didn't need to say he almost died. His actions said it for him. In 2025, he pushed that idea even further. While preparing for Sick Week, the donor engine he bought for $3,000 seized during installation. A hidden rusted piston ruined the entire block. Most people would have quit. Derek didn't. He grabbed old farm parts, rebuilt the carburetor, and used scrap pieces to build a temporary engine stand. The race got delayed and the tuning wasn't perfect, but the car still ran. He posted the whole process so others wouldn't fall for the same engine scam. Later that same year, he built something completely different from anything he had done before, a purpose-built drag car. His 1970 Nova was not a patchwork of salvaged parts. It was built methodically from the ground up, with reinforced frame rails, a full roll cage, upgraded brakes, and a custom fuel cell. On its first run, the Nova hit 150 miles per hour. Derek wasn't trying to impress anyone anymore. He was trying to do things the right way, building safely and responsibly. Fans could see the difference in every weld. It wasn't just about going fast. It was about growing smarter. By 2025, Derek was 41 years old. ViceGrip Garage passed 3 million subscribers, and his personal net worth reached around $7 million. He had restored more than 10,000 cars in his lifetime, and each one carried a lesson about hard work and determination. His Tennessee farm became both a home and a headquarters, a place where he could live far away from the corporate life he walked away from years ago. Even though the numbers were big, he never cared about fame. What mattered was what the numbers represented: patience, honesty, and a community learning one bolt at a time. Even with all his success, Derek never stopped being a father first. In 2025, one of his videos showed him tuning a Camaro with his sons. It got 1 million views, not because of the car, but because of the family. His boys Bailey, Bradley, and Bentley weren't background props. They were apprentices learning life skills at his side. Jessica wasn't just supporting him from the sidelines. She was helping on road trips, managing tools, filming shots, and keeping the whole family running smoothly. Their videos weren't staged. You could hear kids laughing when things went right and yelling when things slipped. That raw family rhythm made everything more real. Then, near the end of 2025, Derek hinted that he was writing a book. It wouldn't just be about racing tips. It would include quiet thoughts about fear, pressure, and recovering from that moment when the fury nearly crushed him. The book would talk about budget racing, but also about healing. Derek wasn't quitting. He was simply changing lanes. In 2026, he planned to take a twin-turbo Falcon to the Midwest drags, hoping to break into the 8-second range. But the money he earned from that race wouldn't go into his bank account. Instead, he planned to use it to fund scholarships for young mechanics in Minot, North Dakota, the town where he grew up. After everything he had achieved, Derek's biggest goal wasn't faster times or more subscribers. It was giving back to the place where it all started.